Bartenders smile when you order certain whiskeys. They nod approvingly. They pour with theatrical precision. But the moment you turn away, that smile vanishes. Behind every bar in America sits a collection of bottles that staff secretly despise. Overhyped, overpriced, or just plain overrated. Today, we're exposing 11 whiskeys that bartenders pretend to love but privately wish would disappear from their shelves forever. This is the list no one in the industry wants you to hear. Let's start where the pretending begins. Basil Hayden's. Walk into any upscale restaurant bar and you'll find Basil Hayden's sitting proudly on the top shelf. The sleek bottle with its signature metal band screams sophistication. Guests order it by name, convinced they're drinking something special. Bartenders pour it without complaint, collect the markup, and say absolutely nothing about what they actually think. The reality behind the bar tells a different story. At just 80 proof, Basil Hayden's delivers less punch than most standard bourbons. That's not smoothness. That's weakness dressed in expensive packaging. The flavor profile reads like bourbon training wheels, light caramel, faint spice, and a finish that disappears faster than ice in July. Bartenders don't hate the whiskey itself, they hate the disconnect between price and performance. You're paying for elegance and restraint when you could get more flavor and character from bottles costing half as much. The high rye mash bill promises spice and complexity, but delivers neither with any real conviction. The bottle design does most of the heavy lifting here. Customers see the tall, distinguished presentation and assume quality matches aesthetics. Bars stock it because it sells based purely on appearance and the Jim Beam luxury portfolio positioning. Behind closed doors, staff call it the whiskey for people who don't actually like bourbon's bold character. Every time someone orders Basil Hayden's neat, bartenders internally calculate how many better options sit 3 bottles away. But the customer feels sophisticated, the bar makes margin, everyone pretends this transaction makes sense. If you want the whiskeys bartenders actually respect, and not the ones they politely pretend to like, subscribe. That's the game, and Basil Hayden's plays it perfectly. But at least Basil Hayden's stays quiet about being unremarkable. The next bottle won't shut up about its craft credentials. High West Double Rye. High West built an empire on the craft whiskey movement. The Park City, Utah distillery became synonymous with artisanal American whiskey. Their Double Rye arrived as the sophisticated Sippers Rye whiskey, blending younger and older stocks for supposed complexity. Bartenders initially embraced it, then reality set in. The craft story sells bottles, the liquid doesn't always deliver. Double Rye leans heavily on its blend of 2-year and 16-year whiskey, but the young spirit dominates. You get aggressive mint, raw grain, and a hot finish that betrays the youth. The older whiskey contributes barely enough to justify mentioning it. What frustrates bartenders most is the price creep. High West started as an accessible craft option. Then Constellation Brands acquired them in 2016. Suddenly, prices climbed while quality stayed static or declined. The whiskey didn't improve, the marketing budget did. Bars stock High West because the brand recognition remains strong. Guests see Park City on the label and imagine mountain distilleries and small batch care. Most don't know that much of High West's whiskey comes from MGP in Indiana. That's not inherently bad, but it contradicts the craft narrative customers are paying for. Behind the bar, Double Rye gets used for cocktails where its sharp profile can shine. Neat pours generate quiet frustration. Bartenders know they're serving packaging and positioning more than exceptional whiskey. The bottle looks great on Instagram. The pour rarely justifies its $35 to $40 retail price. If High West trades on authenticity theater, the next whiskey perfected the art of looking better than it tastes. Angel's Envy. Angel's Envy arrived with a compelling origin story. Lincoln Henderson, legendary master distiller, creates his dream bourbon after retiring from Brown-Forman. Finished in port wine casks for a unique twist. Beautiful bottle, touching narrative, bartenders wanted to love it. Then they tasted it, repeatedly. The port finish dominates everything. You don't taste bourbon with a port influence, you taste port-soaked grain alcohol. The sweetness overwhelms any traditional bourbon character. Caramel candy, grape juice, and a cloying finish that coats your mouth like syrup. For bourbon enthusiasts, it's a dessert wine masquerading as whiskey. What bothers bartenders isn't the sweetness itself. It's watching experienced whiskey drinkers order it thinking they're getting something sophisticated and complex. Angel's Envy became the gateway bourbon for people who don't actually enjoy bourbon's oak, char, and spice. That's fine for casual drinkers, but the pricing suggests premium craft whiskey. The brand exploded on social media. Beautiful bottles photograph well. The gold wax looks luxurious. Influencers praised it. Sales soared. Bacardi purchased the brand in 2023 for an estimated $400 million. None of that changed the liquid. Behind the bar, Angel's Envy sits in the Instagram whiskey category. Guests order it because they've seen it online, not because bartenders recommended it. Staff smile, pour, and mentally note that for $45 to $50 retail, you could buy bourbon with actual depth. But Angel's envy sells on image, and image always wins over substance in the social media era. The next bottle takes overpricing to a whole new level. Whistle Pig, 10-year. Whistle Pig burst onto the American whiskey scene, promising Vermont-made rye with bold flavor and premium quality. The reality is more complicated. The whiskey inside the bottle comes from Canada, aged there, then shipped to Vermont for bottling. That's not inherently wrong, but it's not what the branding implies. At 100 proof, Whistle Pig 10 drinks like aggressive young rye. Sharp spice, raw grain, and heat dominate. The finish is long but harsh. For a 10-year whiskey costing $70 to $85, bartenders expect refinement. Instead, they get volume and burn dressed in farm-to-table marketing language. What drives bartenders crazy is watching guests pay premium prices for Canadian rye that's been repackaged with American craft credentials. Whistle Pig's founder made no secret of sourcing from Canada initially, but casual consumers miss that detail. They see Vermont farmhouse imagery and assume small-batch American craft. The brand's constant limited releases and experimental finishes feel like distraction from the core product's limitations. Boss Hog commands $300 to $600 for finished barrels. Farm stock promises estate-grown grains. Bartenders watch this theater while knowing the standard 10-year expression doesn't justify its everyday pricing. Behind closed doors, staff debate whether Whistle Pig represents good rye or good marketing. The consensus leans toward the latter. When someone orders it, bartenders pour without comment and wish they could suggest Rittenhouse or Old Forester rye at a third of the price. But luxury branding creates its own reality, and Whistle Pig sells that reality effectively. Speaking of branding over substance, the next whiskey weaponized aesthetics. Hibiki Japanese Harmony. Japanese whiskey conquered the American market through mystique, scarcity, and undeniable quality from producers like Yamazaki and Nikka. Then Suntory released Hibiki Harmony for the mass market. Beautiful bottle, iconic design, reasonable price point initially. Bartenders stocked it eagerly. Then allocation games began. Hibiki Harmony became impossible to find at retail. Distributors played favorites. Prices doubled. Customers obsessed over the bottle's 24 facets representing Japanese seasons. The liquid inside became secondary to the hunt. That's when bartenders started resenting it. The whiskey itself is pleasant but unremarkable. Soft, approachable with honey and light oak. The blend includes malt and grain whiskey with no age statement. For $60 to $90, depending on market gouging, you're paying for Japanese prestige and a pretty bottle. The flavor doesn't justify the hysteria. What frustrates bartenders most is customer entitlement. People demand hibiki, offer to pay above asking, and act like the bar is personally wronging them by not having it. Staff become referees in allocation theater they never wanted to participate in. The whiskey stopped being a product and became a status symbol. Behind the bar, Hibiki Harmony represents everything wrong with modern whiskey culture. Scarcity creates artificial demand. Pretty packaging drives obsession. Actual flavor becomes irrelevant. Bartenders would rather pour something more interesting, but customers want what they can't have. Suntory understands this psychology perfectly. At least Hibiki delivers decent whiskey inside the hype. The next bottle built an entire brand on gimmicks. Jefferson's Ocean aged at sea, barrels traveled on ships. Temperature fluctuations and ocean motion supposedly created unique flavors. The story sounds incredible, the science is questionable, the price tag is outrageous. Bartenders pour it while internally questioning why anyone falls for this. The concept works brilliantly as marketing. Customers imagine barrels rocking on waves, absorbing salt air, developing complexity through adventure. Reality is less romantic. Ocean aging might contribute slight caramel and dark fruit notes, but nothing you couldn't achieve through standard aging processes. Mostly, you're paying $80 to $100 for a story. What bothers bartenders is the precedent Jefferson's Ocean set. Now every brand needs a gimmick: smoke barrels, wine finishes, double barrel transfers, music-vibrated aging. The actual whiskey becomes secondary to the theatrical production. Jefferson's Ocean pioneered this trend, and the industry followed. Behind the bar, Ocean gets ordered by customers who want a conversation piece more than a great bourbon. They'll post photos, they'll tell friends about the aging process, they'll miss the fact that better bourbon sits on the shelf for $40 less. Bartenders watch this performance without commentary. The Jefferson's portfolio includes some legitimately interesting whiskeys. Ocean isn't one of them. It's a carnival trick wrapped in nautical romance. But it sells, which is all that matters in the whiskey business. Bartenders wish customers would ignore the gimmick and taste the liquid. They know that won't happen. If Jefferson sells stories, the next whiskey sells false scarcity. Michter's US1. Michter's carries tremendous historical weight. The brand traces roots to 1753 Pennsylvania distilling. The modern incarnation sources and bottles whiskey with supposed obsessive quality control. They release products slowly, creating allocation pressure. Bartenders see through this calculated scarcity. Michter's US1 bourbon and rye vary dramatically batch to batch. Some bottles sing with caramel, vanilla, and oak complexity. Others taste thin, young, and unremarkable. That inconsistency drives bartenders insane. You never know which Michter's you're opening until the first pour, yet customers expect perfection because of the premium pricing. The allocation game makes everything worse. Michter's releases small amounts of each expression, forcing bars and stores to chase supply. Staff hate being asked daily when the next Michter's delivery arrives. They hate disappointing regular customers. They especially hate opening a $45 bottle that tastes like $20 bourbon. What frustrates bartenders most is Michter's refusal to disclose ages or distillation sources clearly. Everything is proprietary. Everything is special. Trust the process. But when bottles vary wildly and prices stay high, trust erodes. Staff want transparency, not mystique. Behind closed doors, Michter's US1 gets mixed reviews among bartenders. Some appreciate the brand's quality when it hits. Others resent the allocation theater and inconsistency. Nobody loves explaining to customers why this particular batch doesn't taste like the magical bottle they had last year. Michter's controls supply brilliantly, but can't control the liquid's reputation among those pouring it nightly. The next whiskey turned bottle collecting into a circus. Blanton's Single Barrel. Blanton's didn't create bourbon bottle collecting culture, but it perfected it. The horse and jockey stopper comes in 8 letters spelling out the brand name. Collectors hunt full sets. Secondary markets explode. Bartenders watch this madness and quietly lose faith in humanity's priorities. The whiskey itself is good. Single barrel bourbon from Buffalo Trace with honey, citrus, vanilla, and oak balance. It's pleasant, well-made, and consistent within single barrel variation. At retail price around $60, it's reasonable. But nobody pays retail anymore. That's the problem. Blanton's became the poster child for allocation abuse. Stores hold it for favored customers. Prices reach $150 to $200. People buy bottles they'll never open just to own the horse stopper. Bartenders pour it knowing someone paid double or triple what the whiskey justifies. What frustrates staff most is watching customers obsess over bottles while ignoring better bourbon sitting ignored on the shelf. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof offers more complexity for less money. Wild Turkey Rare Breed delivers bigger flavor, but neither has a collectible topper or Buffalo Trace mystique. So Blanton's wins. Behind the bar, Blanton's represents everything broken about modern bourbon culture. Quality matters less than hype. Flavor ranks below collectability. Reasonable pricing disappeared entirely. Bartenders wanted Blanton's to remain a solid single-barrel bourbon. Instead, it became a symbol of manufactured scarcity and irrational consumer behavior. At least Blanton's tastes good when you actually drink it. The next whiskey costs even more while delivering less. The Macallan 12 Double Cask. Macallan built an empire on prestige. The brand dominates luxury Scotch positioning. Celebrities endorse it. Auction houses sell vintage bottles for 6 figures. Then you taste the standard 12-year expressions and wonder what happened. Bartenders pour Macallan 12 Double Cask, knowing the reputation exceeds the reality. The double cask refers to aging in both American and European oak sherry casks. The result is pleasant, easy-drinking Scotch with dried fruit, vanilla, and soft oak. It's inoffensive. It's approachable. It's also boring and overpriced at $70 to $85. Bartenders can name 10 Scotches offering more complexity for less money. What bothers staff most is watching Macallan coast on reputation alone. The distillery prioritizes marketing over liquid innovation, beautiful packaging, luxury positioning, celebrity partnerships. Meanwhile, the whiskey inside doesn't justify the premium. It's good enough to avoid offending anyone, which is apparently the strategy. The transition from fine oak to double cask felt like cost-cutting disguised as improvement. Bartenders noticed, customers mostly didn't. The brand continues selling based on prestige accumulated decades ago when Macallan actually delivered exceptional whiskey at fair prices. Those days ended. Behind closed doors, bartenders debate whether Macallan represents luxury or the luxury illusion. The Scotch drinks smoothly, it photographs beautifully, it impresses uninformed guests. But pour it next to Glendronach, Bunnahabhain, or Craigalachy at similar age and price, and Macallan's shortcomings become obvious. Staff wish customers would explore beyond brand recognition, but luxury branding creates its own gravity. The next bottle took brand worship to absurd levels. Weller Special Reserve. Weller Special Reserve costs $18 to $25 at retail. It's wheated bourbon from Buffalo Trace, sharing mash bill similarities with Pappy Van Winkle. Those two facts created a monster. Weller became the poor man's Pappy. Suddenly, a simple value bourbon became allocated, hoarded, and resold for triple-digit prices. Bartenders watch this insanity daily. The whiskey itself is fine: soft wheat sweetness, caramel, vanilla, and light oak. It's a perfectly acceptable mixer and casual sipper at retail price. At secondary market prices of $75 to $150, it's laughable. Bartenders pour it knowing someone overpaid dramatically for unremarkable bourbon. What drives staff crazy is the Buffalo Trace hype train. Every product from that distillery became allocation gold. Weller's Special Reserve, the entry-level expression, got swept into the frenzy. People chase it, not because it's exceptional, but because it's related to Pappy. That's not bourbon appreciation, that's brand worship. Behind the bar, Weller's Special Reserve represents bourbon culture's absurdity. It's $20 bourbon priced like premium craft whiskey. Maker's Mark delivers similar weeded character without the allocation games. Larceny offers comparable quality at normal prices. But neither carries Buffalo Trace mystique, so customers ignore them. Bartenders pour Weller while mentally screaming about value propositions. They watch grown adults pay 3 times retail for mediocre bourbon. They field daily questions about when the next Weller shipment arrives. It's exhausting. The whiskey doesn't deserve this attention, but manufactured scarcity creates irrational demand. Buffalo Trace knows this and plays the game masterfully. Which brings us to the ultimate emperor with no clothes. Pappy Van Winkle Family Reserve. Nothing in modern whiskey generates more pretense than Pappy Van Winkle, the most sought-after bourbon in America. Lottery systems, waiting lists, secondary prices reaching thousands of dollars. Bartenders pour it approximately never because bars can't justify the cost. When they do pour it, they watch customers perform appreciation rather than actually tasting whiskey. Let's be honest about what Pappy represents. It's very good bourbon, aged 15, 20, or 23 years, wheated mash bill, Buffalo Trace distillation, smooth, complex, with deep oak and vanilla character. At suggested retail prices of $100 to $300, it's worth trying. At secondary market prices of $2,000 and up, it's insane. The Pappy phenomenon transcends whiskey quality. It became a status symbol. Owning it matters more than drinking it. Customers who finally score a pour at a bar perform their tasting for social media. They make faces suggesting profound appreciation. Bartenders watch this theater knowing most people can't distinguish Pappy from Weller 12 in blind tastings. What frustrates staff most is the allocation corruption surrounding Pappy. Distributors play favorites. Store owners hold bottles for preferred customers. Bars charge $50 to $200 per pour. The system rewards connections over actual bourbon enthusiasts. Meanwhile, bartenders pour objectively better whiskeys that customers ignore because they lack Pappy's mythology. Behind closed doors, bartenders admit Pappy's reputation is built on scarcity, not supremacy. It's excellent bourbon surrounded by absolutely insane hype. The whiskey can't possibly live up to expectations created by $1,000 secondary prices. Yet customers chase it relentlessly, convinced they're pursuing perfection. The truth bartenders know but rarely say out loud is that dozens of bourbons deliver comparable or better experiences without the allocation nightmares. Four Roses Limited Edition, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Wild Turkey Master's Keep, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel, and numerous craft distillery offerings provide exceptional quality at rational prices. But none carry Pappy's cultural weight. Pappy Van Winkle represents bourbon culture's beautiful madness. Excellent whiskey transformed into unattainable luxury through calculated scarcity. Bartenders pour it when possible and watch customers act like they're drinking liquid gold. The pretense is universal. Nobody admits the emperor might be wearing very expensive clothes that aren't actually magical. That's the list. 11 whiskeys bartenders smile about while dying inside. Some are genuinely good but absurdly overpriced. Others are marketing triumphs over flavor. All of them create daily frustration behind bars across America. Which bottle did we get completely wrong? Drop your defense in the comments and remember bartenders are watching.